Well, I think we're excited to get an opportunity to play a home game against this good of a team, and I think since UConn has come in the league, it's really exciting to get to host them in our space, and I think when the schedule first came out and you saw December 28th, part of you's like, well, is that good? And I couldn't really decide at the time, but I think it's a great time to play them. I mean, people are home for the holidays, so I would expect that we'll have a really good crowd. And we were talking as a staff this morning. I mean, to get to play Stanford right before you play them I don't think that's a bad thing. I feel like hey, you just played against one of the best teams in the country, and now you're going to play against one of the other best teams in the country, but now you're at home, and each team has had a little bit of a break, and maybe not quite as much of a run up in terms of practice times, but I think our players will be excited and ready to go, and I also think we did a lot of good things against Stanford. Didn't play well enough to win, but I think we did enough things that we should be optimistic going into tomorrow night. And UConn is, they've been hit by the injury bug again this year, and they've kind of changed, week to week or every other week. They're a little bit different team, but they've gotten some people back, and I mean, they're definitely probably a better team than they were a couple weeks ago with adding Nika Mule, their point guard, back, and Uhas, who they're 6'5", kind of hybrid kid. So they're definitely more at full strength than they were a couple weeks ago, and so we're going to get a team that's playing probably a little better than they have in some stretches.
We'll open the floor for questions for the student athletes. Reminder, please try to project your voice a little bit so we can pick up the questions.
I know kind of what Blaine said. Do you like the fact that you played Stanford before UConn is, almost prep for another really good team?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Stanford game set us up for a lot of good things going into this UConn game. Obviously, the game didn't end the way we wanted it, but I thought we closed the game in the fourth quarter and did the things that we should have done throughout the whole game. But that's also another bright spot. We closed the game how we wanted to, and then we're going to come in tomorrow and play a really good UConn team. So I think that just set us up for a lot of good things that you'll see tomorrow.
Well, while we're on Stanford now, what did you feel like was different the last three quarters versus the first?
Yeah, I think we kind of settled in a little bit more. We were a little rattled, first quarter, kind of getting settled, but I think we slowed down on offense, made them defend us, slowed down the turnovers a little bit, and that helped us the last three quarters. So.
Mallory, what has this stretch kind of been like for you guys? Obviously, tough game against Arkansas, then have to go all the way out to the West Coast and then back, and now you're playing UConn. And the holidays mixed in too. How have you kind of juggled all of that?
Yeah, I think this team, appreciates a tough schedule. We're competitors, so I think that we balanced it well with finishing up finals and holiday season, but I think we love the competition, and it's just going to help us in the end of the season.
Mallory, what do you think you guys have learned from the last two games? Like, how do you think they could potentially help you with this next one?
Yeah, I think it helped us in practice kind of identify what we need to work on offense and just improve on defense and scout defense. But I think that playing against teams that are tough rebounding teams, taller than us, maybe more athletic or physical, but it definitely makes us work, and we're taking care of the ball a little bit more and focusing on slowing down our offense and getting the shots we want.
I felt like in both matchups last year, the physicality was the difference maker for them. How important do you feel that component of the game is going to be tomorrow night?
Emma, if you take this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously UConn is UConn. They're a really good team. They've been a great team for a long time now, and they have some big players. And I feel like that is one difference that we don't have. We don't have the 6'5" post presence. But I think if we just use our fundamentals, slow down the game, do what we need to do, and play smart, then we can use that to our advantage against them.
Obviously, UConn is circling on the calendar every year, but does the dynamic of this game feel any different with how, I guess, unpredictable the team has been with their injuries and whatnot every week?
I think this game, obviously with having Paige out again, but that was the case last year. So I think we're excited again for this game, playing in front of our home crowd, and it doesn't change much as far as preparing for them. We're going to control ourselves and play hard.
How do you guys manage? To kind of Joe's question, night in, night out, your margin for error has always kind of been small since night one, and it doesn't really
Yeah, I mean, I feel like individually we're all very competitive and we don't take like mistakes or things we do lightly. We want to win, we want to compete with everyone. And I think that's just an testament to personalities on the team. We all want to do everything for each other. We just want to go out and prove that we belong.
Emma, how helpful was it to kind of have the full week break between these type of games and just the chance to refresh, but also have extra time to prepare for a team like UConn?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you come to college basketball, you love the game, you want to play, but sometimes a break is necessary for everyone, and it's really even for coaches, anyone on the roster. So it was nice to just get home, see family, and then come back, and then you're just extra motivated to get back and do the things that you really love.
Now, where's your comfort level at with regard to just kind of what you need to do every night when your number's called?
Yeah, no, I feel great in the position I'm at with the team as a whole, the coaches. Like, I have full confidence in my teammates and coaches. For when I step on the floor, I know what I need to bring for the team to get us a win at the night.
Valerie, it's supposed to be a sellout tomorrow night. How much of a factor can the crowd be?
Yeah, we love playing in front of a sold-out crowd. Obviously, we had that with Nebraska, but I think it's going to help us a lot, bring that home environment for us to get the dub.
One thing I talked to Flan about earlier was just the tough schedule with all the top 25 opponents, and he said the biggest thing will be just handling that and being together as a team. How would you describe the chemistry between all of you and how that's improved this season?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we came in, like even as a freshman for our class, we came in with a big class, adding Lauren Jensen our sophomore year, but there wasn't really like an awkward part in like coming to school here and coming to practice. You kind of just like blended in with everyone. The upperclassmen were great, and it's weird saying like we're upperclassmen now because we're juniors. Like I feel like I was just a freshman, but I feel like there wasn't any like awkward like slow parts to like just being best friends with everyone on the team because we hang out off the court, on the court. We're competitive. We know what we have to do on, but then even if we get in like small little arguments on the floor, we're completely fine off. So I think that just a testament to a personality and how competitive we are.
Any further questions for the student athletes?
Thanks, you guys. Good job.
Thanks.
Questions for Coach Flannery?
What is Nika Mule version, I guess 3.0, she's a junior now, what's different about her game now versus how you might game from her in the past?
Yeah, she's more confident. I think, I'm assuming whenever Paige got hurt, and she knew she was going to probably get to run the offense a lot this year, that, that she was excited, disappointed for Paige, but excited about her opportunity. I think she's gotten, I mean, it's weird to say, they've got three kids that I think have gotten a lot better. Nika Mule, I think Aubrey Griffin has gotten a lot better, and then Aaliyah Edwards have gotten a lot better. You don't think of UConn as a development program necessarily because they're recruiting the best of the best, but in some ways, sometimes all it takes is an opportunity. And, when we talked with our staff the last couple of days, it's like, well, they were good enough to be recruited to UConn. It's not surprising that Nika Mule is now as good as she is, when maybe we hadn't seen that up until this year, and Griffin is as good as she is this year, and Edwards is as good as she is this year. They are elite players, and so a lot of it is confidence. I think Mule fuels her game on the defensive end, which I think allows her maybe to play a little more free. Some kids, they get their energy from how much they're scoring, and I don't think that's who she is. And she's throwing it to good players. So I think part of it's she's playing a lot better, but I think Edwards has really, really improved as a post player and is getting a lot of those. And then obviously the transfers. So yeah, they're going to be tough to deal with, and it's a credit to them that they've to both their staff and those individuals that they've improved to the point where I think they're still a really, really, really good team.
Flan, how much could a win against a team like UConn do for this program? Not just this season, but recruiting in a national perception.
Yeah, I think I think it can do a lot. I think, if you look at, I was just talking to our staff this morning about, how the league has used UConn as, the platform of the league and the to raise the profile of the league, and that's great. But sometimes it's great if on a national level that people recognize that it's not just UConn and her 10 little sisters, and I've said that before. It's until we get to the point where at least they're losing occasionally, then there's going to be a perception that the rest of us are a full notch below them or more than a full notch below them, and so I think it would be good for the rest of the league, but it's also great for Creighton because I know we're going to have a good crowd tomorrow night, and I know that recruits are going to pay attention to this result more than they're going to even pay attention to our Arkansas game or even Stanford probably for that matter because, as Emma mentioned, they're, in the span of her lifetime, they've never not been elite. Whereas, there's, so yeah, I think it would help this year's team because we've hit a bump here, but it would also obviously elevate the profile of the program and really even the rest of the league. I think it helps.
You mentioned that be some folks from out of town, good crowd, all that. How much do you guys appreciate that atmosphere when you're playing at home in that environment?
Yeah, I think being in the Big East has helped shape my lens of what Sokol is. I think, when you go to some of the East Coast schools that we go to and you're in huge cities and they're equal-sized gyms and there aren't people there because it's New York City or Philadelphia or Washington, D.C., and those programs don't register even at the level that we do here in Omaha, that you kind of lose sight of that. And so I think I've had opposing coaches talk about how much they like our arena and our home support. And I think, that helps because as a coach, sometimes you look at what you don't have and you don't always appreciate what you do have. And I think, tomorrow night it'll be fun. I think, and I think just being in here for volleyball matches when they sell out is neat for our players to see that and for Kirsten's players to be able to experience that. So I think tomorrow night will be big because I'm hoping we win, but I'm hoping it's a great competitive game so that the people who don't normally come will want to come back.
Looking back at the past two games and I guess the schedule as a whole, do you feel like you've gotten everything you wanted out of making a schedule like this, looking back on when you put it together?
Yeah, I do. I think it's easy to look now and think that we've lost 3 out of 4, but we're still 8-3. So I think we tested ourselves. I think we've improved. I don't think we're playing our best right now, but I don't think we're playing poorly. I would say the same thing about our last 2 losses. I mean, I think we played okay against Arkansas. It wasn't our best. Hopefully our best isn't till February and March. And I would say the same thing about Stanford. But I think we've, what Mal said is or a little bit to what she said is you find out where you're a little bit deficient, and we're not going to get taller. I don't expect anyway. And so we've got to find avenues to address, post defense, and some defensive things, but also, we got to get some people going offensively a little bit different. I mean, we certainly miss Tatum maybe more than we thought. I mean, I think we can't score the ball quite as easily in transition and even in the half court sometimes against teams that are a little bit longer and more athletic, and I think we miss her, and we've got to figure out how to be just a little bit more consistent offensively without that, and no better way to do that than to have enough examples on film of, okay, here's where we need to tweak this to get a little bit better. We need to, show our players, hey, this cut versus this cut, or this, the screen has to look like this instead of this, and you maybe can get away with that against so-and-so, but you can't get away with that against a Stanford or an Arkansas or a Connecticut. So I think it's been good. I mean, I wouldn't have necessarily scheduled this way with a lot of teams, but with the experience that we have and the talent that we have, I think it's been appropriate.
Are you approaching this game from a big picture point of view at all, considering how hard it's going to be to win in this league this year, based on everybody played in the non-con, and then given the fact that if you want to win a Big East title, you probably can't lose too many home games.
Right. Right.
Or does that?
Um,
Talk about that, please.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about how I approach it, it's about how the players approach it. I hope we didn't bring them back till yesterday. I mean, I think that's, I would not have, I'd rather have not played until the 29th, so we could have maybe had one more practice. I think that would have been helpful, but I also know that they've had to travel, and I know they came back Christmas night. I don't know if they practiced Christmas night, UConn, but they've only had at the most one more practice than we have, and they've had to get on an airplane and come out here. So I think it's I don't know. I feel pretty good because I feel like in having reflected about Stanford, I think our players know that we weren't all that far away, and now we're playing, a team that's very comparable, but also we're at home, and there's hopefully a comfort level, and we got to get off to a little better start than we did against Stanford. But I think if we do that, there's every opportunity. I mean, UConn's really, really good, but they're not quite as experienced as they were a year ago. I mean, just watching their film from last year, God, they had seniors who when that game was tight in the third quarter really ramped it up defensively. And I'm not saying this UConn team can't do that, but they don't have the experience that they had a year ago quite, and hopefully there's just a little bit more opportunity for us to keep the game tight for longer, and then get it to the fourth quarter and see what we can do.
Did this break for your team kind of come maybe at the perfect time, on the back of playing two really tough ranked teams, but before playing another really tough ranked team?
Yeah, I like the way it fell. I mean, I don't think it's, you want to go into the Christmas break with a win, but there's no shame in losing to the number 2 team in the country on the road. So it's not, if we'd have dropped a home game to a team that we were supposed to beat, or any game that we were supposed to win, that to me is a lot more, would be a lot harder to sit on than what transpired right before that. And and I think it's great that we had their full attention in practice yesterday because they know it's UConn, and not to disrespect any other program in the league, but if you're going to get a focused practice when that's your first game coming out of the break. So I feel like our practice yesterday, they were ready to go, and they'll be ready to go today, and I wish the game was a little earlier tomorrow. But maybe that's a good thing. We've got a little bit more time to go through some film even with the team. So